Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the iRacing Today radio show for today, which is June the 18th, 2014. This is show number 58, if my statistician is to be believed, i.e. Chad, who makes the notes up and increments a little number in the upper corner every time that we go in. This is the iRacing Today radio show, as it always is. My name is Trevor Cameron. Welcome into the show, and I also welcome into the show Mr. Chad Dalton. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Chad?
Oh, I'm doing just fabulous.
Mr. Chad, who is showing an extreme close-up in order to make sure that everybody sees his face as he stares into their soul, because he's like right on top of the camera, anybody who's watching live on YouTube.
Yeah, that's to protect you from seeing really interesting pictures behind me that are not bad. They're just they're just interesting. It's like dolls and stuff.
All right. I mean, who doesn't need? I mean, you need your dolls in amongst with your race cars. I mean, you know, it's all about balance, man.
Racing is a family sport, so.
The France family taught us that. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yay, dolls! I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, doing great. Good to be here.
Yes, and it's good to be. I apologize.
No, I was just gonna say what you were getting ready to say. It's good to be on video.
Yes, I was going to say it's good to be back in the Ratface Production studios here finally, so we can actually have the show proper-like, as opposed to all these weird hotel things I've been doing. So I'm back in the studio, and we have our video going. We have the microphone going. I got my sign in the background. I'm in my old butto with my comfy butt here. I mean, everything's great and coming up roses, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Chad dropped out for some reason, so that's awesome. Hopefully he'll jump back in here and doesn't stop recording on his end. So we'll just wait for Mr. Chad to come back here, and I'll just go through what the show's going to be about. Because it's funny how we go on about how I'm in these hotels with this crappy internet and everything, has a problem like that. And what happens? But Chad drops out on me because he's not in a hotel. No, he's in a place with normal internet. But then he just decides to disappear on me anyway. What up, Chad?
Why? You want to know why? That is because I hit the wrong button.
You hit the go away button?
Yeah, I hit the button that decided to drop you. No, I hit the button that apparently goes backwards, and so I went back to where I had to install the plugin because I'm on a different laptop. And so I accidentally went backwards, and that took me to that screen. So then I was like, oops. So I hit forward and came back, and now here I am.
Yay. And I was just explaining to the people how it was funny how I was the one with the problem with the internet every week when I was in a hotel, and now it's your problem, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. But as I was saying before I so rudely cut myself off, I don't remember now what I was saying, but...
As I was saying, I don't know, nothing of great importance.
It was going to be great, whatever it was.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah, but anyways, let's get on with the show.
Absolutely. So thanks to everybody for
response that somebody called me out on.
Oh, yeah. On it's like, Trevor comes up with an interesting story that goes down so many different little paths but isn't in the show notes, which Chad replies, so anyways, back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, I remember now what I was going to say before I cut myself off. You mentioned that you were in your comfy butta and everything's nice and comfortable for you. I had to put my pillow underneath me because I'm just I don't even know. I'm just in the hardest chair ever. So.
Well, I could say, I mean, looking at the scenery, like the pictures that you're hiding in the back, it looks like an older house, like kind of something kind of rustic, and so I'm guessing the chairs and the furniture are rustic too, maybe.
Actually, it's a 13-year-old house, but it's a very nice house. But it's yeah, this is the doll room.
That's where they say, Chad's here. I don't know, stick him in the doll room.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how much my family loves me.
Well, they're all like, you're going to be out there making noise and, talking loud about, to yourself. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand this internet stuff. I mean, you're just sitting there staring at your laptop and talking to yourself. So you've got problems. You go to the creepy doll room.
Yep. Okay. So now that we've established that and I'm no longer, leaving the show, let's actually do the show.
Excellent. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and those who are going to be watching us live or watching us on archive or listening through iTunes, etc., etc., etc. Thanks for coming in as you do each and every week, and we appreciate that. But this week we've got our In the News segment, which will include the latest news from the iRacing program itself and our show, of course, Chad's latest racing experiences, and my latest racing experiences, in which there were some because I was actually somewhere where I could get to my wheel.
Yay!
We're going to go over a counterpoint to something we talked about last week. Was it that we did the protest stuff? Or was it the week before?
No, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. We talked about how to protest and how that system works. So tonight we're going to explain how you appeal in case somebody has gone and protested you and you think, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. So we're going to go through the process you got to go through in order to actually appeal something that you think is unjust. We're going to be going over our rookie tip of the week, which has to do with relative track position, otherwise known as the F3 key on your keyboard, or going to the particular black box, which is third over from the left. And we're going to be talking about our track of the week, which is Virginia International Raceway, road course week again this week. So that is our show this week. Hopefully it is a fun and enjoyable week, and hopefully Chad doesn't hit buttons and I don't lose internet, because that would be just ironic that I lose it in my own home.
The button I have to stay away from is the delete button, because that'll take me backwards. See, what I was trying to do, the sound up button is right above the delete button. I was trying to turn the sound up so I could hear you better, and I accidentally hit the delete button, and that's what caused all that.
I see.
So now I'm going to have to be very careful if I'm going to change the sound.
See, I don't have the problem with hitting the wrong button, because I just flail with my hands, and that way I can't hit anything that I'm not supposed to be hitting. So
yeah, I don't have that luxury.
Moving right along, we are going to be moving into our In the News segment, which is presented by iRacerstuff.com. iRacerstuff.com is a website dedicated to the iRacing motorsport simulation. They post things that they find interesting or that may be useful to the iRacing community. Check them out today at iRacerstuff.com.
What's with the voice?
I don't know. I have this habit where if I read things, I have to read them in a British accent. I don't know why. Every time I read stories to my daughter at night, it's always in a British accent. Right now I'm reading her Harry Potter, so it's actually strangely appropriate, so it works out kind of well. But I find I can't read a written word unless it's in a British accent, so I just figured I'd just, rather than fighting it, I'd just go with it. That was my plan.
Okay.
So, speaking of news, don't forget to vote in our latest poll question on our website. And I'm going to move this over here so I'm not looking to the side anymore. And that poll question is, well, see, I have two monitors, and now my words were off to the right, but the monitor that I could see my face on the left, so I'm looking at myself looking away from the camera, and it bugged the crap out of me. So I fixed that. So our poll question this month is, on iRacing, do you use voice chat, text chat, neither, or both? Our current poll question expires on Monday, June the 30th, which is only
That's an important day.
12 days away. And why is that an important date?
That's my birthday.
Aw, well, happy early birthday. And
Yay.
Then I'll say it again when we're closer to that day. I will be on the road again on that day on Monday, so yay!
Figures.
Yeah, I won't be, well, and I'm not even going to be in Virginia like I happen to be all the time, so I can't even stop by and say, I mean the Bahamas.
Give me a cake.
Yeah, give you a cake.
The Bahamas? I was in Jamaica. Duh.
Oh, dang it. Yeah. Man, gosh. I don't know the canon of the show. I mean,
I can't be in 3 places at one time, Trevor.
So make sure you head on over to our website right now, or after the show, or when you get home, or during the designated break period at your workplace if they have not blocked our our website. My work has actually blocked our website, so I couldn't vote in our poll if I was at work right now, because it's all like, nah, man, you can't do that. That's about streaming audio, and you can't do that in the workplace. So there you have it. So make sure you head over and vote in that poll and let your voice be heard. Also, something that came up just before we started the recording of the show, I wanted to mention as part of the news is that they have a new segment, or a new news story, I guess, on the front page of iRacing. We've mentioned this several times before, where they've brought up various news articles, blogs, and whatnot that are out available, and so they have the iRacing News Good Reads segment, and I'll just mention what they have here, because why paraphrase? Because we see where that goes. I go down rabbit holes and say words wrong.
Yep.
Also, I should mention before I start reading this whole thing, I had major dental work done yesterday, so the side of my face here is all kind of messed up, and I've got this temporary crown thing which is rubbing against both my tongue and my cheek and the top of my mouth because it doesn't fit quite right, so talking kind of hurts a little bit. So
I'm sunburned.
I may stumble over my words, and he may start peeling all over the place. I mean, we're a mess. That's what I
may just fall over from skin disease.
I don't think it happens that way or that quickly.
Okay. Well, you never know.
But I want to let everybody know that there is good reading on iRacing News these days. Where to begin? I don't know, how about the beginning, I guess, would be a good place. How about not one, but two stories on the WDC? Is that the World Drivers' Championship?
Yes.
As in Jason Loffing's report on the NASCAR Peak Anti-Fries. Anti-Fries?
Nope.
Anti-Fries. I'm highly against fries. French or otherwise. The Peak Anti-Freeze Series race at Michigan, and Will Vincent's account of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series visit to Silverstone. Will Vincent, of course, that everybody would notice that we called out for having his Indy qualifying time take 3 days or something.
It was fast, I'll tell you that much.
Apparently, I was informed later on that apparently he does a whole bunch of reports and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so he was apparently just having fun.
Yeah.
There's also a first installment of a great new blog from Scott Heckbird explaining how and why iRacing is an integral part of its routine preparations for the NASCAR K&M Pro Series East events. And that is just for starters, because there's more. There are articles on the V8 supercars at Sebring, NASCAR Class A fixed at Pocono and Michigan, Silver Crowns at Twin Ray. That's a lot of word. Oh wait, that's the NASCAR Class A fixed at Pocono and Michigan, comma, Silver Crowns at Twin Ring Motegi. The UK and I, that stands for, I think, United Kingdom and Ireland, or at least I'm assuming so. Skip Barber League at Brands Hatch. The Classic Lotus GP Series at Interlagos, GT3 Challenge at Circuit Zolder, and the iRacing Road Warrior Grand Prix of Canada at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. All this and more on iRacing News. So apparently they're doing a lot more articles on the individual series and stuff than I thought they were doing. Like, I thought they just did stuff on the main DWC. I don't care if you're going to call it the WDC all you want. It's still the DWC to me.
They've done a lot of stories on different series before, but I think they're starting to do more.
Yeah, that certainly seems like a lot more than I'm used to.
You know what I think? I think I should do a story on there about our show, like every week.
I know. I mean, it's iRacing News Good Read. It's like, here's all these people who are doing this stuff. What about us, man? Come on, where's the love?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what.
Now, moving right along. Is that better than so anyways?
So anyways, well, see, I think he called you out on it because so anyways sounds dismissive. It sounds like,
well,
all right,
I'm done with you.
Stop talking, Trevor. So anyways, now's the important stuff.
Don't forget about your chance. You only got 12 more days to win a VIP NASCAR experience. Of course, iRacers can support fellow iRacer and Sprint Cup Series driver in the NASCAR world, Josh Wise. And of course, there's some information on the members' website if you happen to be a member. If you don't happen to be a member, then head on over to iRacing.com/Josh-Wise-promo. And you can find out all about it. But there's 3 ways you can enter. You can refer someone. You can be a brand new member and join under the promo card. Yep, that's what we're going to do.
The promo card.
Code PR-JoshWise98. And then, of course, you can also buy the Sprint car, which is on iRacing. And so those are 3 ways you can enter, but you've only got till June 30, 2014. So you better hurry. And the winner will get 2 VIP pit passes to a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race of their choice. So that's a really sweet deal. And, of course, some of the money that is used by the sprint car and, of course, the new subscriptions will be going directly to Phil Parsons Racing's to help them out, and they're kind of a underfunded team. So it's really cool that iRacing is being a sponsor, and we get to participate in that. So go do one of those three things if you haven't already, and help a fella out, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we're a few weeks late on this one, but that whole Josh Wise, when we had the iRacing on the side of the car, that got at least some TV time because he kind of got himself crunched up and the logo was smooshed, but they actually showed it on TV, and they actually did mention iRacing and stuff a couple times. I believe Daryl Waltrip referred to it as, what did he say? He said something, but he wasn't even talking about Josh. He was talking about how the young kids use simulators to prepare for races and stuff. I think he called it the iRacing or the iRace, or whatever it was. He said it wrong, but he had the idea. He was in the right. He was in the right vein.
That's Daryl Waltrip for you. I remember when.
I'm so glad that Fox is done with their part of the season.
I remember when I was watching Darlington practice one time, and Denny Hamlin had been doing the iRacing simulators at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and Daryl Waltrip was explaining it, and I think he said something very similar to the iRacing. He said, "But you want to know why Denny's doing so good here tonight? Because last night he was on the iRacing at the Hall of Fame, and he was practicing." I was like, heck yeah.
Go Denny, go the iRacing.
Now, we mentioned this last week for the first time, and we've already gotten a few people talking about it, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But back in November, we did the iRacing Today radio show Fun Races. I want to say the first annual, but we're not exactly going to do this at the exact time every single year.
The first periodic. The when we feel like it, iRacing Today radio show Fun Race.
So we're doing it again because we feel like it. So send us your thoughts about a car track combo that you would like to see, both oval and road, because we're doing both of those. And also what day of the week might work better for some of y'all. We've had a couple of comments about doing it late enough, which would be perhaps early enough. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it'd be more of an early enough. Yeah, one of our listeners over in the UK, Ben Stock, had mentioned that he wanted to make sure that the race was at a fun or a sensible time for UK listeners. And of course, for me, they're 7 hours later in the day, and so that would mean making it a little earlier. And I mean, even when last time we did these, we did it at a nighttime, and we had several people from across the pond show up, which was cool because it's like it had to have been a horrible time for them.
Yeah. So anyways, we're going to do those again. They were a lot of fun last time, and like Trevor said last week, we're going to stream those from my point of view and his point of view, and yeah, we're going to hopefully have, thousands of people there, because we can do that.
Yep. So far, most of the, we mentioned our preliminary thoughts was the Spec Racer Ford at Okayama and the Street Stock at the large Charlotte Oval. And from the responses we've gotten so far through Twitter, email, etc., sounds like you guys are kind of thinking that that's in the same vein what you guys are thinking. Somebody else had mentioned something else at Okayama. It was a Spec Racer Ford or one of the other lower tier. I think he might have mentioned the Mazda or the Pontiac. I can't remember which.
I think it was Mazda.
But you guys are thinking kind of the same line, so that's probably what we're going to do, unless we get some other feedback that indicates doing something different. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe if we did it on a Saturday afternoon, then that would make it so it would be kind of Saturday evening for the UK guys, and then an afternoon race would be harder for the North American people, but it is Saturday. But just some initial thoughts. We'll do some planning over the next little bit, and that'll, of course, depend on my travel schedule as well, because that's always good to mess up some stuff as well. So that's where we stand on that. Excuse me. So we'll keep you guys informed as to where things stand moving forward on that. But moving forward with the show, we're going to talk, we mentioned last week, but I just wanted to bring it up again, that Derek Spears Designs, his DSD for the win, contest is going on right now, and for that you can win a set of DSD pedals. DSD is proud to give away a set of our professional grade sim racing pedals, and I looked these up on the web after we did the show last week, and they are an impressive looking set of pedals, let me tell you.
Yes, they are.
Professional grade sim racing pedals to a lucky winner on July the 4th, 2014. You can enter as many times as you want, within reason, which, again, makes no sense. I've entered once. That seemed within reason to me. Maybe I should enter again.
I've entered 5 times.
The winner's name will be announced at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, July the 4th, which is, of course, American Independence Day. Everyone from every part of the globe? Every part of the globe.
I thought you were going to say garage, which would have been, respectable.
I don't know. Every part of the globe, I don't know, let's turn to Grove or something there, is eligible to win, and we will be promoting this across all forms of the sim racing space. To enter, you will need to hit up the DSD website and submit your name via the form. You will receive an email confirmation. I confirm this happens because I did it when you have submitted your name. So you head on over to Derek Spears, and it's not Derek Spears Designs, as I believe I have said in the past. It is Derek Spear Designs. DerekSpearDesigns.com/DSDFTW. Excuse me. Also, I wanted to, since we're talking about Derek and some of the promotions that he does for the iRacing community, I also want to mention that he also has another contest going on at the same time, allowing you to win a DSD Track Boss, which is one of his. I caught myself. It's like Track Boss. I said it right. Then I thought I said it wrong. I was going to correct myself. Then realized I'd actually said the right thing all along. Which is one of his button boxes, and he is giving away one of those every week for all of season 2. And basically, the idea is that if you run the DSD logo as one of your sponsors on one of your cars in any official race. So, I mean, they've done this sort of thing before where, a particular series, if you run it for so many weeks or something along those lines, then you can enter a new contest. iRacing has done that several times in the past. For this, any series, any official race that goes on, doesn't include hosted races or anything like that, but in any of the arrive and drive races, if you're running the DSD or Derek Spear Designs as your sponsor, which you can find that in the paint shop under secondary sponsors, so not a main sponsor, it's only on the secondary sponsors page. Just go into the paint shop, select Derek Spear Designs, put that on your car, race it, and you'll automatically be entered. And the idea as well is not only is it any series, any official race, but you can enter this multiple times by every time you enter into an official race with him as your secondary sponsor, then your name goes into the pool so you can be in there multiple times, and every week he's doing a random draw of all the people and giving one of these track bosses away. So that's pretty cool as well. I mean, like we've mentioned in the past, Derek does a lot for the community, gives back. I mean, obviously he's a businessman, and that's part of his business plan is to provide these sort of promotions to promote his business. And hey, great. I mean, he's getting his name out there. He's obviously doing well because he's got his name as a sponsor, and that's more we can do in the iRacing sim because I ain't got that money. So make sure you go out there, and I mean, even if you another thing to note, if you go and you do custom paint, as a lot of us do using trading paints, and you have your logo in through that does not count because he has no way to tell that that's actually there because it's just a custom PSD file that you have in there. So go in there, put it as your secondary sponsor on the car you're going to be racing anyway, then put in your custom paint design with DSD on the logo as well, and that way you're covered, because that way people who are using trading paints will see it, but people who aren't will see it, and your name will be entered in there as well. So make sure you go in there and put that on there so you can get entered and hopefully win one of those really cool-looking button boxes.
Yes, I have to show you all something on the video. It's going to be great. It's going to have something to do with the show that we did a few weeks ago.
Okay.
At Pocono, where we started naming things. So I just found this sitting in the floor right here in this room. It's E.T.
It is E.T.
Okay, now, next news item. is a couple of things that Steve Myers tweeted out the other day. A couple of people have been, obviously, people ask him questions all the time about how things are coming along, different tracks, content, cars, whatever. I could have just said content, but I decided to make that more complicated.
Yep, content or cars.
Yeah. At AJ_Fredericks asked Mr. Myers how Phoenix was coming along, because we mentioned a couple weeks ago, or maybe a few weeks, it's been a little while, that the rescan of Phoenix and the slight altering of the back straightaway was coming hopefully in the Season 3 build, and so this person was asking how it was coming along, if it was still looking good for the Season 3 build, and Steve responded with, looking good. So basically, that means that is looking very possible that we'll get that in the Season 3 build. Also, a question that was asked was at RPGX Cartman asked Mr. Myers of when Gateway was coming to the service. Obviously, we mentioned also, I think on the same show that we talked about Phoenix, that Gateway Raceway or Speedway, whatever they call it now, is coming to the service and has been signed and scanned. And Steve responded with, hopefully by the end of the year. So I guess that means like Christmas time we'll get it.
I would say soon. I mean, we're halfway through the year. Oh,
yeah.
Holy crap! I can't believe we're halfway through the year.
I know. Crazy.
Time, stop. I'm too old.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's pretty cool. Those are just a couple of things that Steve mentioned, and as we tell you guys like all the time, Steve is always tweeting about something. So if you're a Twitter person, after you follow Trevor and then you follow me, give Steve a follow.
Yes, absolutely. He's very active on there and good at answering questions and interacting with the users of the sim. So make sure you give him a follow. So if you have any questions or just to follow on with any conversations from questions other people ask, like these ones here, and then you'll have your information.
Exactly. Or you can just keep listening to us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep you in the loop. We got this covered. We got your back.
Oh yeah. So no,
it won't.
Oh,
haha. There's something I forgot to put in the notes.
Oh.
I just want to do a quick mention. It's not really a news item per se, but we've mentioned a friend of the show, I'll call him, Kevin O'Keefe, who is on YouTube under Rutgers Kev, does a lot of streaming of races and whatnot. He had recently there was a contest we'd mentioned a while back that anytime that you brought people in through the referral system, then you were entered into a prize draw to win a experience at Skip Barber, at the Skip Barber School. And Kevin had won that, and which is great because I mean he races all the time, streams a bunch of races. He's his races are great to watch. Like if you enjoy watching sim racing, make sure you head over and you find Rutgers Kev on YouTube. We mentioned in the past, but anyway, he's actually gone on that experience, and he made a post which he admittedly at the very beginning, so you're prepared. The title is Long. An iRacer attempts to drive a Skip Barber, and he's gone through his entire experience. So to kind of share with you guys what it's all like, because he's never driven a race car before, other than the virtual ones, but has driven many virtual ones, obviously. So he put a post in there, and with a bunch of pictures, bunch of videos, explaining, going all the way through his day and everything. So it's really, really, really cool. I haven't had a chance to read through the entire thing yet because it is long, and I just found it today while I was at work. So I just wanted to mention that, and I'll put a link in the show notes. But make sure you get over there and check out that post to get an idea what it might be like if you were a sim racer who happened to get a chance to go race a real race car around a track that you've probably logged hundreds of miles at, because he was at Lime Rock. So make sure you go and give that a good read and give some comments for Kevin, and of course go check out his YouTube page as well over at Rutgers Kev on YouTube as well. So I just want to mention that and give him some exposure, so make sure you guys don't miss that article or that forum post that he has out there. So now we're done with the news.
Okay. Yes. Do go give that former post. I'm going to have to read it too, because I have not been on the iRacing service much this week, so I did not know about it. So, moving on to our experiences on iRacing.com segment. And for the first time, probably in the history of our show, Trevor has more experiences than I do.
Woohoo!
My only experience this past week was my one road race, which I did this past Friday, and I streamed it. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. And that was the Global Challenge Fixed Setup Series. Rolled into Mid-Ohio, which is seriously one of my favorite road courses. I really enjoy racing at that track, believe it or not. And I was in the Kia Optima because, as I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, that I am swapping cars. So that series runs the Cadillac and it runs the Kia. And the first week I was in the Cadillac. This past week in this race, I was in the Kia. And you know what? That's the first time that I've really truly driven the Kia. And I wasn't on the show the night that we talked about the Kia for the car of the week. Well, I say we talked about it. It was more like Trevor talked because he was the only one there. But that car is fun. Like, I really enjoy that car. It seems like it has a lot of grip. It seems like it's not too powerful, but yet it has, you know, a good amount of power to it. And I don't know, I was pretty impressed because, I mean, like I said, that was really the first time I've driven it. It was definitely the first time I've driven it in a race. And I had a lot of fun racing that car at Mid-Ohio. I've driven a few different cars at Mid-Ohio because Mid-Ohio is one of the tracks that I participated at a lot. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. But my race, as you'll see in the stream, was very slow because I'm not very good at road racing. I can keep it on the track. I can get in the car. I can keep it on the track. Doesn't matter what car it is. I'm generally very good at figuring out how to keep it on the track. But I'm not yet gotten to the point where I can go really fast and do the whole keep it on the track part. But one day I'll get there with more experience. So I started dead last. There were 15 cars. I was very happy about starting dead last, whereas the week before in the Cadillac I had started mid-pack, so I was not too thrilled about that. But anyways, started 15th, and I think there were 10 Cadillacs and 5 Kias, if I'm not mistaken. And so one of the things that we've talked about on the show, and I mentioned it on the stream, that I love to do with road races where I start in the rear, is I like to just kind of not go as quickly on the start as everyone else and kind of let them go away, you know, not like super away, but, you know, get that a little bit ahead of me so that I can kind of just chill out. And also it allows me to hopefully avoid a crash if they decide to do that in the first couple of turns. But so I was really glad that I was starting in the back because that allowed me to do this. And so I kind of delayed my start, so to speak, and everybody kind of got away from me, and I just settled into my own little rhythm where I'm just, you know, driving on my own. And eventually, a couple of cars did run off the road. It was actually a fairly clean race. It was one of the cleaner races I've been in on the roadside so far as normally when I'm on the road course stuff, there's always like 3 or 4 people who have at some point run off the road or crash or, you know, do something, and you gain a few positions, or at least I always have in the races I've been in. But this one, I only gained a couple of positions, and so that basically means that 2 people crashed out, or at least crashed enough that I got ahead of them. One guy, about halfway through the race, he had spun out earlier in the race, and he caught me again, mostly because I had to let a bunch of Cadillacs go because I don't want to get in anybody's way. And of course, they're the faster car in the series. And I was letting him go, and I saw it on my right monitor, but you can't see it in the stream. But he went to hit the brakes to go into the turn. It was a right-hand turn. He was on my right side, so I was letting him go, and when he hit the brakes, I don't know if he jerked the wheel and got loose, or if the braking made him loose or something, but somehow he like came over and hit my right front, and and then I spun him out because he went flying into the field off of my right front. And at first I was like, oh crap, I hope he's not gonna, yell at me and be like, whoa, what are you doing dumping me, because I did not wreck him. I was just letting him go. But then he came right on immediately and said, I'm really sorry, and which I don't know why, because it didn't do anything to me. He was it did all the damage to him. But I felt bad at first because I was like, oh gosh, I hope he's not gonna think that I wrecked him. But that was really the only exciting part of the race. Because I was kind of by myself the rest of the time, but ended up with a 13th place finish overall, and I think I was 4th in the Kia class, which 13th is not spectacular, but I'll take it because, again, I'm not here to be spectacular. I'm here for the enjoyment of it, the fun, talk about it.
What the heck is spectacular? Is that like spackle related?
Yeah. So anyways, it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And like I said, it was in Mid-Ohio. I love that track. I don't know why. I guess it's just an interesting track, just the way that it's laid out. So I really like going there, and am looking forward to going back there again soon, hopefully. But it won't be this season, obviously. But so yeah, it was a good race, and besides, I was completely clean. It was 0 incidents besides when the guy hit my right front, at which point I think I got like a 1 or a 2x out of that. So, but of course iRacing has a no-fault system with their incident points, so it doesn't matter if you were at fault or not. You're going to get an ink point if you make contact, which sort of stinks, sort of doesn't. So, but anyways, that was my only racing experience. Well, I did do a carburetor cup race, but that doesn't really count.
That's not a real race.
Yeah, but I did stream it. It's on there if you want to go watch it. I figured I should stream a carburetor cup race because I videoed one with my GoPro, and so I figured why not stream one. So I did.
I see. Well, I decided this week to make good on my promise to start getting some road racing in, and then I decided that we had just talked about the Jetta TDI and how I had struggled with that style of road racing car, and then kind of had that epiphany that maybe that particular struggle was something that I needed in order to try to learn the corners a little bit better. So I decided to go with the Grand Touring Cup, which races the Solstice, the Jetta, and the Mazda. And even though I had more experience in the Solstice and the Mazda, I decided I was going to race the Jetta, which apparently is the fastest car in those classes, which I didn't realize. Although the difference in speed really isn't that great. So, again, I'd mentioned before in the past I had struggled with the Jetta, because it's the big tank-like. I mean, it's not like the Ford FR 500, whatever it is, but it's still tankish. But I went out and did a bunch of practice laps. We were racing at Suzuka, the West Course, and I had a blast. Like I went right on Twitter. It's like, man, this is so much fun. Because I mean, I'm going around those corners, and I found rather than having to kind of tiptoe my way around those corners, I was able to really kind of throw it into the corner and just kind of manhandle it, as I mentioned on the stream when I eventually did the race, because I could just go hit the corner. I knew what gear I had to be down to, so I knew kind of the speed area that I had to be as I approached the corner, and then I knew where my apex was, and I could just kind of really wheel the car into that corner rather than just kind of these small, minute maneuvers. And I was actually getting not bad at it. I mean, not great, but I was only like the best speeds I was doing is in the minute 36 range, minute 36 and a half, a little more than that. And the fast guys looked like they were in the 132s. So it was only about 4 seconds off, which, I don't know, for me that's not too bad. Be that much slower than the fastest guys, and with some consistency as well. Like actually, if I look back at the best time I had managed in practice and the best time I had managed in the race that I eventually did on Friday night, I think it was. it was my best time in practice was a minute 36.673, and the best time I had done in the race was a minute 36.670. So for me to have some consistency between practice and race, that's a victory all in itself.
Yeah.
So I raced a bunch of practice laps by myself and in practice sessions, and got comfortable. So I jumped into a race. The race ended up being I have the results here. Ended up being a total of 10 drivers, most of which were in the Jetta. It was funny because when I'd actually spectated some races as well to get a feel for the style of driving that was out there and the participation as well. And those seem to be mostly dominated by the Mazdas. And like the one race I spectated had one Jetta in it. It's like, oh, all right, well maybe I'm not picking the right car as far as participation wise, but this one was dominated by Jettas. Also, a quick shout out as I was preparing for the race because it was my chance. Like I had a window of opportunity to get a race in, so it was my chance to get the race for that night, or that race. And I couldn't race later on that night because it was getting late, and it was like at 5-6 people in and needed 8 to be official. So I went to Twitter. It's like, all right, anybody who's out there, just join into this race now. And listener of the show, Jason Fissett, he's from Canada, so Fissett, said, yep, all right, I'm joining. So he came in and raced, so that was cool. So I got to race with Jason, who beat me, but that's not important. So that was cool. So we went official by an extra 2. I didn't qualify, so I started way at the back. Like I was started 9th out of 10 cars. Saying, okay, cool. The only problem is that I'm technically the fastest class out there, so people were expecting me to pass them, but I didn't want to. It's like I just want to hang out back here. So we got started, and everything was great, and I ended up getting into on the first lap. It was that we gotten into one of the corners about half through the lap, and I kind of got inside of one of the Mazdas, but a little bit too hot, and so we went into it was a series of 2 right-handers. I can't remember which corners they were, but the first right-hander you carry with a fair bit of speed, and then you have to slow down for the next one. I think it's right around the bridge area, if I remember correctly. So I think it's turn 4 and 5 that I'm thinking of, and I carried the normal amount of speed that I do to get that turn 5, and he ended up on the outside of me. So I had to bleed off a lot of speed, and we ended up kind of going through there like side by side, and it almost looked like it was, I'm the fast car and I'm gonna push him out of the way, and it's like, no, I'm just trying to race my race. And he came on and said something like, "Man, you guys are ruthless." It's like, no, I'm not. I just don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, that was okay, and then he let me by after the first lap. And so we're going through turn 9. We went through 9, 10, and then he let me by on the straight stretch going into 1. Now 1 is the corner that I struggled with the most. Not in making the corner, but I knew that's where I was losing my speed because that one seemed I couldn't find that fine line between carrying enough speed through the corner and too much and ending up in the gravel trap off to the side, or spinning out, and I did that a couple times, or just slowing down way too much and just being right in the way. So on the first lap, adrenaline's pumping, these guys let me by. It's like, okay, they let me by, so I got to at least carry some speed through here so they're not all like, oh, why'd we let that guy through? He doesn't even know what he's doing. And so I carried too much speed through 1, ended up just losing the rear end of the car. She came around and nosed into the wall. They sailed by. It's like, lap 1, here we go. Great. Trevor strikes again in his infinite way of handling these races. So it was still drivable, although I had meatballed the meatball flag. So I drove back to the pits. It's like, okay, well, whatever. They're going to say I'm done or whatever. I turned off the gas because you don't need to refuel in these races, and pulled in. And there wasn't a timer for the repairs. It's like, well, that's weird. They started jacking up the car and putting tires on. It's like, It's like, oh wait, they get a reset in this in this one? I had no idea. So apparently the Grand Touring Cup, you get a reset because they gave me just, here you go, new car. It's like, man, I wish I'd turn the tires off because now I'm wasting time changing my tires, and still managed to get out in front of the leaders, but now I'm in front of the leaders, which is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was just hang out in the back, run my race, everything be great. Now the leaders are chasing me down. So I got my 2 incident points from smashing into the, getting off track and smashing into the wall, and then just raced my race, got into a rhythm. I was doing 137s, 138s, so not as good as I had been doing in practice, but I eventually got into the rhythm, and that's where that a couple 136s came in. The leaders came up on me. The leader came by, let him by. That went okay. I found he caught me at a good place. I was able to kind of pull off, slow down a little bit. But the second and third, they were racing pretty close together, a couple seconds behind him, and they caught me in turn 7, which is the sharpest corner in this particular configuration. And there's this big dirt track off to the trap off to the side. So I came into that corner, and I'd never spun out there. Like in all the practice laps and everything I'd done, I'd never had a problem here. I'd managed to not carry as much speed, or I'd kind of drifted off instead of hitting the grass instead of the curb on the exit of the corner, but never had a problem. So they're coming up on me, and of course Trevor, Mr. Adrenaline, I forget how to work my pedals, go in there, somehow with too much speed, start spinning out right in front of them. Everybody's like, I'm like, oh man. So I'm working the wheel, trying to get, it under control, and ended up basically doing what looked like a parallel park in the dirt track. So I'm just staring back at the track like I'm aimed right where I need to go, watch the 2 cars go by, just casually pulled on the track like is exactly how I planned. So, oh, you want me to get out of your way? Kirk, I'll just go over here, park here for a second, watch you guys, give you a wave, and then I'll just carry on. So there was another 2 incident points. So I ended up with 4 incident points in the night. But in the end, I mean, sure, I managed to cheat because I got a reset, but
yeah.
I still saw the checker. I still raced my race, got some good laps in there. Wasn't the last Jetta, second last, but nevertheless, And still, even with my crappy I rating of, what was 850 something, still managed to lose I rating because I finished a low down, so I'm down to 826. Lost some safety rating, so I'm down to an A class 362. But I got out there and I did it, and the Jetta is like I said, it was a perfect car, I think, for me to go out there and start doing some laps because I didn't have to be careful. Because, I mean, like, while I'm whipping the wheel around and everything, I'm not, like, I wasn't losing the rear end on it. Like, I wasn't whipping around and trying to fight it for loose. Like, it really seemed solid and stuck to the track, which is something I kind of need when, my big meat hook hands, road race, I don't have much finesse when it comes to that sort of thing. So it kind of was a perfect fit for me. So that worked out pretty good. And then I've already done some practice laps for this week's race, which is at, where that? Oh, Summit Point, which is a track we mentioned in the past, which is kind of, even though it's an easy track, it kind of scares me because there's no walls. You can just sail off forever into the grass, which I've done. But I've done some practice laps there, and that feels pretty good too as well. So I'm going to do it a little bit later on in the week. I'm going to get a race in there and trying to get better at this road racing stuff, and I'm learning. I'm getting there, and I stream the race, so you can check that out as well, and see my mistakes and for all in all their glory, and so that was my road racing experience. I actually didn't race any oval stuff. It was just straight up that. So I'll be racing the Grand Touring Cup sometime this week at Summit Point, and also the Integrity Racing League, which I haven't had a chance to race in for several weeks now. They happen to be doing their road racing version because it's road racing week in NASCAR, so they're taking their nationwide car to Road America, which, as I've mentioned, happens to be one of my favorite road courses. So I'm going to do some practice laps in that and see if I can't do some negotiation and get myself on the track on Friday night with those guys, because great bunch of guys to race with and haven't had a chance to do it for a while. So hopefully I'll be out on Road America on Friday evening and streaming that as well. Maybe I can convince Chad to come along too, although he's on vacation or something, so I don't know if he can.
Yeah, I won't be there.
All right, fine.
Sorry.
But I'm going to try to do it.
Well, that's cool. My I rating dropped too. I'm down to a 13-15.
Oh,
I
man.
was looking at my little chart the other day where it shows you on iRacing the little line of how your iRating has gone. My
Mm-hmm.
iRating started at 1600, which everybody's does by default, in case you didn't know that. Um, and it's just slowly gone down from there on the roadside.
Yeah. Mine does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a steady. This is when you start it. That is as good as you're ever going to be. It's all
Yeah,
downhill from here.
exactly. But I was quite thrilled to realize that I only need 5,540 more iRating points to be the best oval racer on iRacing.
Man, it's just like it's just there, man. Yeah.
Yeah, just there for the taking. So, but I did not do the RCRL this week because I'm on vacation. They were at Sonoma, which kind of stinks because I did Sonoma last year in the RCRL and that was a blast. So I was kind of wanting to do it again this year, but it did not happen. So next week, I think that they're in Kentucky. I hope because I love that track.
Hmm.
And I'll, of course, I mean, I'll be there anyways, but regardless of what the race is. But I will be there ready to stream and ready to race, and it is at Kentucky, thank God. So that'll be on June 23rd, and I'm going to get some redemption on that one, hopefully, because last year I was running second, coming to the white flag, and then finished 21st, and it was my fault. That's all I'm going to say.
Uh,
So next Monday, I'm getting my redemption. But that's our experiences of the week, except Trevor has another cool story to mention.
yes, I mentioned this on Twitter before. Obviously, this was Father's Day this past weekend, and happy belated Father's Day to all the dads out there who are racers as well, such as myself. Chad, you don't count because you don't have any kids.
Nope.
But you're too young for them anyway. Uh, so it was so the Father's Day gifts that I got were kind of spoke to how much my kids slash my wife understand me and what's kind of important with me and kind of paying attention to stuff. So I got a couple gifts and I just want to share it with you guys because I think they were kind of cute. The first one, it was for my youngest with help from my wife. Obviously, she made it. She had meant this to be she thought when she bought it, because she actually made this herself, she thought it was a t-shirt, but ended up being a muscle shirt instead. So that's why I'm not wearing it for you people, because not everybody out there is ready for these guns. That's a
Yeah.
private viewing only sort of thing. But so anyway.
That's what I wanted to come to the show to listen to tonight.
So anyway, so if you're on the video, then you can see this. If not, then well, imagine I'm holding up a shirt in front of the camera right now. So on the front of the shirt there, it has the logo, iRacing Today Radio Show logo on the front of the shirt, and on the back, it says, "It's okay. I'm on the internet." Boom, confetti.
That is cool.
So I have my shirt. I'll see if I can get the same thing made up on a T-shirt as well. That was for my youngest. My oldest had spent a bunch of time, and she was so excited that this gift that she was working on for me. It was kind of a two-part one, and the first thing she did was, out of modeling clay, she made me my car, complete with the logo on the front. On the video, you can see that iRacing Today Radio Show, even with the microphone.
Yeah, you can get the microphone there.
So, and all my colors, and the 16 on the side as well, of course, and whatnot. So, and actually on the bottom, although you can't pick this up on the camera, it says Father's Day 2014. She scratched that in the bottom as well. Well, you can actually see that, can't you?
I can. Well, sort. Yeah, now I can see it.
But anyway, so that was pretty cool. So she made me my car.
Is it a Toyota?
Well, I was asked what it was. My wife was asking me. I said, "No, it's a Ford Mustang." So they actually got a little dinky toy of a Ford Mustang and used that to model the shape. I mean, you can obviously tell that's a Ford Mustang. I mean, look at that. Like it's 100% accurate. Anyway, so I got that.
And your daughter's like a professional.
I know. And I was given as well. Make sure it's closed so I don't smell the contents. Dad's emergency kit is what she called it. And on the top it has the some race car. It has the Indy car and the stock car as well, and the 16. So again, paying attention and the road on the side of it as well. So inside, and I will just share this with you right quick, the contents and the letter that comes with it, because I thought it was really, really cute and appropriate. So inside, make sure I don't hit my keyboard and do a chat there and catch myself out. So it says, number 1, a Mars bar for the long races to keep you going.
Oh, nice.
Spits to snack on along the way, which is, Spits is the name of a sunflower company. I eat a lot of sunflower seeds while I'm gaming and stuff like that. Where is it? Oh, yes. A horseshoe for luck that she made out of clay. Oh, and you'll enjoy this one. I don't know if she realized she understands what my favorite candy is, but I mean, I'm not a Kyle Busch fan. But
Skittles.
I have Skittles to help me chase the rainbow.
Nice.
Oh, and my favorite part of it, and I have to put this down here. And also, let's see, where is it? Here we go. A can of beer and boom confetti for.
Wow, that's hilarious.
So these are little confetti things that basically spring load it and you twist it and it pops out a bunch of streamers out the top. So a can of beer and a boom confetti for Victory Lane.
Now you gotta win a race like you said you were gonna do by June.
Oh, I know.
And still haven't done.
Yes. Pictures of my biggest fans, which she gave me some pictures of my family, which I'm not going to show you because they're not agreeing to be on the internet. I am.
Cute family.
And to make it official, a big Band-Aid for my owies when I crash. So
you've been in some pretty epic crashes.
I tell you. And then with love from your girls, Mom, Brianna, Mackenzie, happy Father's Day, good luck racing, to the best dad ever, and she even spelt, when she did racing, she even made it in my colors, the red, black, and white of the that we have for the show logo and stuff as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was very thoughtful from their perspective. It's like, you know what? They get dad.
Heck yeah.
So cool. I was going to say, so you might make sure that you continue to watch my streams because I'm going to keep this by my racing wheel here.
So if you start seeing Trevor munch on a Mars bar.
Well, I'm thinking specifically I'm going to keep the confetti and the can of beer here. That is off limits until I go ahead and win a race. So I'm going to keep them here. So if you're watching on the stream, the first time that or the very next time that I win a race, I am going to crack my can of beer so I can enjoy it in Victory Lane, and I'm going to launch one of these confettis, and I'll be like, I'm Trevor Cameron. I won a race. Boom, confetti.
Well, there is your inspiration to go win a race.
Absolutely. I think that would be, and I think that would be, I have to now because they gave confetti, my own confetti for my Victory Lane,
Yeah.
And they'll be all like, hey, man, I'm not going to pour the beer on myself because I'm on my Obutto, and so I'm not going to ruin my, spilling all over myself.
Not going to shake it up and spray it.
No, because then my computer's here, my monitor's here. Nothing goes right in that scenario.
Nope, nothing right. I'm pretty sure even Ray Alfalo doesn't even have his own confetti, so you got to win now.
And I've got 2 of them, too, so I've got, I can win 2 races and still have enough confetti. So that's good too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's cool.
So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys, and I thought it was really, really cool and really appropriate. It's even iRacing appropriate content this time. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it was really cool.
Cool. Well, please transition us so I don't get yelled at.
So anyways, why don't you tell us how you feel?
Yeah, moving along to the appeal process of the show. If you would like to appeal this show, please send an email to feedback. No. like Trevor mentioned there at the start of the show, we talked to you about protesting back a few weeks ago. So the opposite of protesting is appealing. Well, I don't know if it's the opposite, but it's the other thing you can do. If you feel as though you got protested over something that you shouldn't have, you, of course, do have the right to appeal. I'm going to go, it's very short, over how you can do this. In the sporting code, iRacing says in Rule 9-1, no, it's not a dash, it's a period, just kidding, 9 dot.
So what are you, me?
1, yeah, I know. I'm losing my mind. Any member assessed a penalty shall have the right to appeal any decision or penalty imposed by a first racing steward, the first competition board, iRacing.com, or first unless otherwise stated in this code, or when notified that no appeal is possible. And of course, there are going to be times when that happens. I just looked at my mic as if I was looking at the camera. Wow.
I can't see you. Like, okay, so what I'm thinking right now is...
Well, I looked at the camera, or the microphone, to, like, drive that point home, but I thought I was looking at the camera, but I really wasn't. So, yeah, I'm losing my mind. It's all this sunburn. Anyways, all iRacing.com members are afforded one free appeal for each 12-week racing season, which I did not know.
No.
First reserves the right to charge members an administration fee for additional appeals. So if you continue to be a bad boy and want to appeal. That rule right there, 912, I did not know. I knew about the appeal process, and some of you probably knew about it as well, but I did actually not know that one. So there is truth to the thing where they say you learn something new every day. Well-funded appeals. To be considered by the appeals committee, this is very important. An appeal must be well-funded, which means that it shall
founded, not funded, founded.
Oh, did I say darn?
Funded.
See,
as if we're starting a Kickstarter here to appeal this.
Okay, just ignore me now. But anyways, an appeal shall be reasonable, logical, and based on sound evidence, regardless of the outcome of any of these appeals. The appeals committee may deem an appeal to be, oh gosh, why do they stick these words in? Frivolous, or whatever. If it is found by the appeals committee not to be reasonable, logical, and based on sound evidence, first reserves the right to access or assess. Just kidding. Gonna take a break here. Assess a penalty to any member filing a frivolous. Really, why could we not find a better word?
Twice in one paragraph, the word frivolous.
I know. Could we not just pick a better word? Appeal. Now, of course, that kind of goes back to when we did the protest. You have to make sure that when you're doing the protest, I just did it again. I looked at the mic. Where you want to make sure that that protest is worth it and is not just, hey, that guy beat me, I don't like him.
Yeah.
Because they, of course, could remove you then, or suspend you at least. Now, initiating appeal, here's how you do it. Appeals must be made in writing, specifically asking for an appeal, specifying, see, I can't read. I'm like Trevor now. The exact nature of the appeal and why it is believed an appeal is warranted, along with all the evidence to support, which I just went over in 921. This is 931, the rule in the sporting code. Written appeals must be addressed to Appeals Committee iRacing, which I'm assuming is the subject line, and submitted to appeal@iRacing.com. This is the only place to formally make an appeal. Appeals must be submitted within 7 days of the penalty or decision being appealed. Any evidence, data, or recordings, third-party accounts are welcome and encouraged to be submitted with the appeal, intent to appeal, or other formal appeals of any kind will not underlined, be accepted. Below is an example of a properly formatted appeal, case numbered CAS-2816-XSWYLN, which I guess you get your case number when they send you
when they send you the result and say, okay, you've been suspended because of that. Here's the case number, in which case you were protested under.
Yeah. Sporting Code Section 4131, which would be if that's what you were protested for. So I mean, all this would be you would know for your particular appeal. And then, of course, your driver name, which they list as Joe Smith. Grounds for and description of appeal. I feel the wrong decision was made in this case because ... You fill that out. Accompanying attachments, for example, if you had a text chat thing, somebody said, hey, you said a bunch of cuss words, you had proof that you didn't, you could attach a picture proving that you didn't. But you would want to make sure that that picture is very, very descriptive and not just you went into a test session, typed up a bunch of words, and then made it look like that was it. So anyways, notification and final appeal decision. The appeals committee will notify of its final decision as soon as possible after the decision is rendered with the appeal. Then it goes into some other things that I'm not really going to read, but you can read that in the sporting code. So that's basically the way that you appeal. It's a very simple process, just like protesting is. And hopefully some of you out there have appealed and won, maybe. Or maybe you didn't.
Right. I mean, keep in mind, this is what the idea of this is. If you're protested, you're not appealing the fact that you are protested. What you're appealing is the fact that you were protested, the committee sat down, made a decision, handed out some sort of punishment based on that. This is the process to say, hey, you know what, hey, let's slow down here, iRacing. I don't think that that punishment is justified based on what happened, or I think maybe you don't have the right facts. Maybe there was a piece of information that was missing from the protest. You know, the person protested you on some basis and then strategically left out some pieces of information or some, you know, a part of the replay or a part of the text chat that would prove that there were other circumstances or there was something else that would mean that you didn't deserve the punishment you got. So this is the route that you would go to say, you know, hey, let's take another look. Here's some more information that you might not have had during the protest that would prove that I don't deserve that punishment. That's what this process is, basically.
Yeah. So that is how you write an appeal.
Right. And one other thing that I noticed when I was looking at my results is to talk about the protest stuff just briefly again, is the fact that we had mentioned here's how you do it in the main page, and you go and you find your session, and there's a convenient section that'll say here's your recent session, so you can find what you're looking for. Also, and I didn't realize this when we talked about protesting, when you actually bring up your iRacing, your results from your last race, which will come up automatically when you're done a race, or you can go back into your past and find the results. There's under the race results page, there actually is a file protest button right there, right above the race results. And if you click on that, it actually brings up the protest segment. And when you go in there and you bring it up, it actually does. It automatically fills out that substation and tells you who are the drivers in the race, so you can actually pick what the driver you're actually going for. So if you were in a race and you, I don't know, you wanted to protest immediately thereafter, then you can just click that and it'll bring up that session right away, and you can find the driver and do that right there. So just another way to actually do that protest. I wasn't aware it was available until I just happened to look up the race results for my road race this week and said, hey, well, there you go. So just want to bring that to your guys' attention as well.
Yep, and that's an excellent point. So thank you for mentioning that. Now, rookie tip of the week is kind of an interesting one. This is we've kind of talked about this before, but not like officially, and that is, of course, your relative track position, or your F3 box, or the third one from the left, which just shows your relative. It shows you a couple cars ahead of you, a couple cars behind you, and how close or far away they are, and it's real time or live, so it's constantly updating and letting you know that they're only a couple of tenths behind you or 3 seconds behind you or whatever the situation is. Now, this is a good tool to use. However, observing it too much, meaning constantly glancing over there in the right corner or wherever you happen to have it, because obviously you can move the black boxes to wherever you want now, leads to problems which can cause you to make mistakes. You'll be more likely to make a mistake if you're constantly scanning your eyes looking at the box. If a person behind you is gaining on you, you can easily overdrive your ability you have on that particular day and that particular race. and you can force yourself to go off the track or lose control. Um, Not only to a person behind you that is gaining on you, but you can also lose a few more positions as well, because you might just completely run off in the field, like Trevor.
Yeah, I was
Um,
just saying, that's probably exactly what I did because I was more concerned with the fact that those guys were catching me because I could see the number shrinking in my relative
mhm.
than just driving that corner like I had done every other time. And that's probably right where why I made that mistake.
Yeah. Now, very similar things can happen if you're trying to gain on somebody in front of you, because you might be one of those people who goes through the couple of turns if you're on a road course or like on the oval, and you say, okay, I really got through those turns really good. Then you start glancing to see, did I gain any time on them? And then it might cause you to make another mistake. Um, Now, be aware. The best way I can put this with the F3 box, or the relative box as we'll call it, I guess, is be aware but not obsessed with the relative box when you're racing. That is very important. It is very good to be aware of it and to know what's going on, and especially, this is why it's a rookie tip, if you're a rookie. Always leave that on at all times. I don't care what anyone tells you. If they come up with the best reason why you shouldn't use it, um, you need to use it because it is very helpful. But again, do not constantly look at it. Uh, my suggestion, and this is just kind of the way that I work with anything on iRacing, not just the relative box, is to only look at it on the straightaway. When you're in the turns, regardless of whether it's road course or oval, you need to be focused on the track ahead of you. So, and notice I said track ahead of you and not car ahead of you. We talked about that a long time ago in the rookie tips as well.
Hmm.
But focus on the track ahead of you. Don't be looking in your relative or in your mirrors or anything like that when you're in the turns. When you get to a straightaway, especially if it's a really long straightaway, um, glance down at all that stuff, look at all of it, because you're on a straightaway. You're going straight. Your focus and level of attention does not need to be 100%, whereas in the turns it needs to be at that, so that you can get through the turns correctly and hopefully gain time on people and not lose it. So that is the rookie tip: is don't obsess with your F3 box, but definitely use it. Now, I know that we've talked about how I don't use it anymore. I used to use it all the time, but this year I have stopped using it, and I know that that's kind of like the golden rule of iRacing that I'm breaking. Um, but I feel like I've gotten myself to a point where I'm experienced enough that I don't need to use it, and as I've mentioned before, I find it distracting because I found myself, and it's easy to do, constantly glancing. Okay, I got through that turn really well. What's the time now to the guy behind me or the guy in front of me? And I I don't want to say that I became obsessed with it, because I didn't, but that's kind of the road I was going down. Was becoming obsessive with it, where I was constantly wanting to watch it and know what's going on, with the guys in front of me, the guys behind me, or girls, and I was always checking it, and I didn't want to do that because I wanted to be able to just focus on driving the car and let either my spotter let me know what's going on with the cars behind or ahead of me, or just I don't want to say guessing, but just kind of knowing that they're there when they are directly behind me, otherwise not worrying about it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so far, and I guess it's been about 6 months now that I haven't been using it, I have not wrecked anybody, I haven't cut anybody off, I haven't made a stupid decision, so far everything's been clean. But again, I'm very experienced on iRacing, been doing this for like 4 years, so I know a lot about the sim, and I know a lot about oval racing, and it works as well on the road side as well. But uh, if you feel like you're experienced enough to not use the relative box, then do what I do and scan your mirrors on the straightaways. Every time I'm on a straightaway, especially an oval, always look in the mirror, always glance. is there anybody behind me? If they are, do they look like they're closer? Do they look like they're further away? I'm constantly looking in the mirrors on the straightaway because I don't have the relative box on. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You got anything to add?
No, it's like I said, from my perspective, I still run with it on all the time. It's the box that I have up constantly, and I'm prone to exactly what you're saying, that it should be avoided. Is the fact that I occasionally tend, especially in the road racing, I tend to obsess over it, or if I'm being caught by the leaders and stuff like that. And that's something to kind of take to heart as well, because I'm pretty sure that's why I ran off that corner, because I was so concerned with the guys behind me that it wasn't just, I knew I could hit that corner. I'd hit it dozens of times already, but for some reason this time, I knew they were closing. I focused more on that. That's why I ended up doing my little parallel park in the dirt. So, but yeah, for me, it's something that I watch constantly, and for me, it's always making sure that I'm not in the way, because everybody, I mean, yeah, the way that I talk about the way I race and stuff, I'm always concerned with not being in the way. Like, my first priority is to not impede on other people's enjoyment of the sim. My second priority is to try to have fun. Maybe that's backwards. I don't know, but I mean, I want to make sure that my lack of skill doesn't get in the way of other people having a good time out there.
Yeah.
So by that, that token, I will occasionally focus probably more on the F3 than I should. Yeah. So that's definitely a good tip to have out there too. That line is perfect. Be aware, but not obsessed with it. That's exactly how you should treat that F3.
Yep, exactly. So there we go.
All right, so moving right along into our final segment of the night, we'll be talking about our track of the week, which is the Virginia International Raceway, which has approximately 32 different configurations, all containing 7 billion turns.
Yes. In reality, it only has, let's go with 7 right, instead of 32. But the main course is, of course, named properly the full course. Well, I bet it took them a long time to come up with that.
Well, it's actually funny. Like, the full course actually isn't the full course, so to speak, because the Grand East and the Grand West actually contain more of the track.
Yeah. Now, the full course is, by the way, of course, it's called Virginia International Raceway, so it's located in Virginia, but it is specifically located in Alton, Virginia, USA, in case you're curious. But anyways, so the full course is 3.27 miles in length and has 17 turns. The North course is a 2.25 mile course and has 17 turns. Trevor wasn't kidding when he said what he said, folks. The South course is a 2.25 mile course as well and has 17 turns.
I don't think that's correct. I think that number is actually wrong, because it looks like it only has 12.
But anyways, that's what it says. And I'm just reading what iRacing says. If they're wrong, it's their fault. The Patriot course, which is, I believe, one of the more popular courses, is a 1.1 mile and has 10 turns, hopefully, if they're lying or not. The Grand East course, as Trevor mentioned, uses a whole lot more of the course and is a 3.97 miles and apparently has 26 whopping turns.
Yeah, wait till you get to the west.
Yeah. Now, Grand West course is 4.07 miles and has 29 turns. Yeah, why don't we just add a few more and make it like 32 or something, like Trevor was saying about the configurations. Now, the reverse Patriot course is the last configuration, and of course is just the reverse, so 10 turns, 1.1 miles. And Virginia International Raceway is a very beautiful racetrack. If you have not either seen this track ever in, I was going to say in person, but I'm like pictures on Google or something. Forget iRacing for a moment. If you've never seen this track at all with your eye in some way, shape, or form, you need to check it out because it's a very, very beautiful track with the landscaping and everything. And also, you can check it out on iRacing if you want to pick it up, which I believe it's $14.95.
I would
If you
imagine
don't,
there's no way this is one of the 1195 tracks. I mean, it
yeah,
has so many configurations. It's got to be a 1495.
yeah. So go pick it up because this is a very cool track. Now, the interesting thing about it is it's. I don't want to say that it's exactly like Summit Point, but it's very similar in the sense where there's not like a guardrail like right next to the racetrack. It's basically just track filled. Eventually, you get to the tire bears.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are some parts of the track where it's very close, or the guardrails similar, somewhat not similar, somewhat close to the road, but it's like taking a drive out in the country essentially. But it's just a
Yeah,
racetrack.
I was going to say, and that's the thing that's most striking about this course. I mean, it's um, appropriate that you mentioned that the thing that pops in your head is that the first thing you want to mention is that it's a beautiful track, and
Mm-hmm.
that is the thing that always strikes me with this track. I've been out on it a few times. I haven't really raced this because it's a challenging track with all those turns. Obviously, there's a lot to memorize, and I mentioned that I struggle with memorizing road courses because there's more than four turns. Uh,
Yeah.
but I have driven on it just to kind of get a feel for it. And the thing that struck me the most about it is the fact that it reminds me, in my travels, I've mentioned before, I do a lot of traveling to Virginia. So I've driven a lot of roads in Virginia. And one of the things that always struck me when I was driving around the state was the fact that even a lot of the highways and the interstates are still beautiful to drive down because you're driving down the interstate, but there's trees on all sides of you, and there's just so much greenery and so much nature, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
around. And driving around this course kind of reminded me a lot of my times driving around that state. Is the fact that like you're driving around there and there's trees and just fields and green. It's just green
Yep.
everywhere. And that's the thing I took away from this course. I mean, like I said, I haven't really done any competitive racing on it because it's a challenging course, and I'm just getting my road racing chops back around me. But it just casually driving down this thing, like not even fast, not trying to learn the track, just trying to just cruising along, just remind me so much of just driving the roads in Virginia. So they definitely captured the essence of the state in this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. I am very similar to you, where I've never actually been in a race here, but I have messed with it a few times in practice sessions. I think that the Global Challenge Series goes there either week 11 or week 12. I can't remember. So that'll be my first race experience at this track, and I'm looking forward to that because I've always liked this track, and I've always wanted to be in a race because, like I said, I've only just done the practice stuff. So hopefully, I don't remember what week it is, but hopefully, and I don't even know what car I'll be in, but hopefully that'll be a lot of fun, and of course I'll be streaming that as well. So I like this track, and it's one that I've always enjoyed watching races at, and I enjoy driving it and the little experience that I have with it on iRacing. But I'm looking forward to getting in my first actual race here because this is definitely a cool, unique, and as we've mentioned, beautiful racetrack. So I cannot wait to get there.
Yeah, and like I said, it's one of the prettier road courses
Hmm.
for by far out there, and but it is not only is it the fact that it's scary because it's got so many turns in it, but it is so wide open.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that frightens me most about this course, and it's skinny too. Like it's not wide open with this big, wide tracks where you could be, all over the place. Like it's a skinny track,
Yeah.
uh, as far as the actual asphalt and whatnot. So, but at least on the plus side, I mean, at least if you go cruising off into the field, you can, as long as you're patient, you can always just get back on the course. And you're probably not going to damage your car much. 'Cause you're not going to
I,
hit anything.
yeah, no, for real. I lied. We don't actually go to VIR in this series. That makes me very upset.
I actually just checked in the Grand Touring does not either, so it did make me upset. It made me kind of, although they are going to Summit Point, which is a course that we mentioned in the past, was kind of a little frightening because of the openness. Then it goes to Silverstone, which is the course we mentioned where we get lost because it's a big airport.
No, Sebring.
Is that? Oh wait, no, it's Silverstone. Oh, I'm not. That's Sebring,
Oh.
not Silverstone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, they're going to Silverstone, not Sebring.
We this week in the Global Challenge Series we're at Summit Point, but I don't know which version that is. I can't tell. So yeah, everything's at Summit Point this week. Now next week in the Global Challenge Series, when I'll be back in the Kia, we go to Phillip Island, which I love that road course. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed we don't go to VIR. I guess it was the GT3 series that I saw that was going to VIR this season. That just stuck out in my brain. I don't know.
Well, actually, it kind of makes sense. Although I was going to say it makes sense, but then again, never mind. I was going to say because we're in a D-class series, so maybe not put the rookies out there. And then I just checked the Spec Racer Ford, and they do hit VIR this season. So apparently, so much for that theory. Although they're not hitting that Grand West or Grand East, so they're hitting one of the smaller configurations.
Maybe that was the series because even the GT3 doesn't go to VIR. Man, I'm hallucinating things. I'm trying to put VIR on like every schedule in my mind. But I guess it was because I've looked at the Spec Racer schedule, I've looked at the GT3 and the Global Challenge, and so I guess that's where it was that I saw it. But yeah, VIR is a great course. It really is. And it's a lot of people's, I don't want to say favorites necessarily, but one of their more favorites road courses from what I've heard. I have not met somebody yet that doesn't like the track. So hopefully I won't get like 15 emails now about I don't like that track, it's stupid. So,
well, I mean, that would make sense because we've had where we said we don't like this car, and people will come back and say, well, that car is actually pretty cool. Well, I don't think we would have the opposite where we say everybody likes this, and everybody's like, no, we hate it because we don't get that sort of feedback. We don't get the no, I hate things feedback.
Yeah.
So,
but anyways, go pick it up. It's a very cool track, and that take over.
We'll about do it for this week.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that will about do it for this week. Big thanks to all of you out there for listening. Remember, the show is available for download on iTunes and Zune. And if you head over to iTunes, we'd really appreciate if you give us a review, as many people have done already, and we do really, really like that. So thank you very much to help us get the word out. Yes, that was
clapping.
I know, but it was pretty lame.
I thought you were going to continue reading, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. The show is also available on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Once again, Chad just died.
I killed a bug.
It's available on my YouTube channel and mirrored over on Chad's YouTube channel, Ratface Productions and White Knight Productions, so you can watch and listen over there. When we don't get the video in, I do put in some static images and just the audio of the show, so you guys can, if that's the way that
my picture.
I did.
Yay! Good.
Yeah, it cycled between the selfie that I took during the rain delay of the Indy 500, you with your creepy soul stealing look, and the show logo is what ended up happening. So
that's such a nice picture.
So if you prefer to go through YouTube to get your show content, then it'll always be there, even if we can't get an actual video out, which fortunately we have this week. You can check out the website for information, archives, links, and the polls we mentioned on the show over at iRacingTodayRadio.com. You can follow show news through Facebook at Facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio, where we have over 100 likes. That's our current benchmark. And you can follow us on Twitter at Twitter.com/iRacingToday for myself and /It'sChadlack for Mr. Chad.
And please email any questions that you might have, polls, suggestions, and comments to feedback@iRacingTodayRadio.com. And of course, feel free to add myself and Trevor as friends on the iRacing.com members website and download that cool Friends app so that you can get all those notifications about when we're online. and come stalk us and stuff.
Oh yeah, and I have actually downloaded the setup synchronization setup sync, I think it was called.
Yeah.
So I have started playing around with that. Not enough to give you guys an opinion on it yet, but I have downloaded it and found some setups through it and stuff. So I've started tweaking with that now that I'm back in the studio. So maybe I'll say a bit more about that next week. But you just reminded me with the Friends app.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to download it, so I'll have to play with it next week as well. And but until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I remember where I was. The race. Remember that the race is rarely won in the first turn,
But it is often lost there. Good night, everybody.